feel guilty for not learning as much. I am that single father with full custody that I messaged you before looking for a Noahide community. Well, I have, Baruch Hashem, many messages. I don't remember everybody's messages. I think last count was like over 500,000 messages in the last 12 months. So you could just do the math of what that averages out per day. So I don't remember all the messages, but I can tell you that there are plenty of people that are trying to cater to the non-Jewish world, to the Noahide world. But with all due respect to everybody that's trying to cater to them, I don't think it's really possible. To do that in a halachic way, for a lot of different reasons. Many times the Noahides want Judaism, but light. So they want a prayer book. They want a certain study regimen. They want a yeshiva. They want holidays. In essence, they want Judaism, just light. And that's not allowed. That's not Noahide. But what the people that are trying to create is typically that. It's like a lighter version of Judaism. So there is no Noahide community that I'm familiar with, and the ones that do exist, or whatever versions of ours, it's usually just small groups of people here and there. Typically, they are led by Chabad shluchim that are really after people's money more than they are after people's neshamot. Because if those rabbis really were looking to do the will of Hashem, they wouldn't even start a Noahide community, because they have a responsibility for Jews before they have a responsibility for Noahides. And that's an halacha. So Hashem does not want the Noahides to have communities. He wants each person to do what they need to do to be a righteous Noahide, to learn what they learn. If you happen to be fortunate enough to have friends and family that are on the same boat as you, living next to you, by all means. But for the Noahides to start having structure definitely will lead to problems. Why? Because they're getting their learning from the Jews, and they're trying to emulate and follow the Jews, and it's only a matter of time before they start acting like Jews, to the point where they're actually no longer Noahides that are righteous, because they're creating things that are forbidden. There are a lot of things that are forbidden for Noahides to learn, but many Noahides specifically want to learn those things. There are many things that are forbidden for Noahides, but Noahides specifically want to do those things, like observing Shabbat and all types of things like that. So that's the thing. I always tell people, listen, if you like the mitzvot, if you like the Torah, do whatever you can to be a Jew. That's it. Stop lying to yourself and thinking that you can remain a righteous Noahide. In fact, it's a conversation that I had with one of my old-time students just a couple of weeks ago, where he came back. He's been with me for a while, and a few years ago, I told him that he needs to convert to Judaism. And he said, yeah, but listen, I could help so many Noahides. I could do so much good in the Noahide world. Jews already have leaders. Jews already have this. Jews already have that. And I tried explaining to him that this is a mistake. His logic is mistaken. He should become a Jew. But again, I'm not here to convince anybody. If you just ask me for advice, I'll give it to you. But anyway, he didn't listen to me. Maybe 3 years have passed, and I guess he just came back to his senses. Even though we've been in touch this whole time, apparently something happened, and he came back to his senses, and he realized that he made a mistake that cost him a few years of his life, and almost cost him his life. Which is that he realized that, wait, being a Noahide is not just about me. It's about wife, kids, descendants, everything. So now, the truth is that there is no Noahide community. There will not be a Noahide community anytime soon that's kosher, because, like I told you, it's always going to have issues, and you're going to be forced to do a lot of things that are going to put you and your Noahide status of righteousness in jeopardy, such as you're going to have kids. Those kids will have to go to school at some point. Okay, now, yeah, of course, homeschooling is fantastic for those that can actually do it, but most people can't do it. So they have to send their kids to school. And what are those kids going to learn in school, in kindergarten, and junior high school? And what are they going to learn? They're going to learn Halloween. They're going to learn Christmas, Kwanzaa, I don't know, homosexuality, pedophilia, Batman and Robin. They're going to learn that stuff. So even though you may be teaching them about God and Moshe Rabbeinu and all that other stuff, still, they're going to have friends that celebrate all types of idolatrous holidays. They're going to want a tree on Christmas. They're going to want a pumpkin on Halloween. They're going to want bunnies with eggs of chocolate on Easter. They're going to want all that stuff. Why? Not because they believe in Yoshke and idolatry, but they want to be like their friends. So what, are you going to keep telling them no every year? Good luck with that. Good luck with that and staying married, because even the best spouse in the world is going to break when their kid starts crying that they can't have this toy because it's not kosher according to the rabbi. So the reality is that people don't understand is that being a Noahide is not just a decision for yourself. It's a decision for everything that happens in your life from this point forward, with your kids, with their kids, with their kids' kids, and so on. And that's why I say to people that, to be a righteous Noahide is a lot more difficult than people can think. And I personally think that it's much easier to deal with the difficulties of a Jew, and much more worth it to deal with the difficulties of being a Jew than to deal with the difficulties of being a Noahide. Because at least with the difficulties of being a Jew, there's a certain sense of community, even if you don't necessarily live in the biggest community. There's a certain, there's structure to a certain extent. There is a order. There's a lot more to it. And quite frankly, it's definitely something that has more stability, even though we get in trouble too. Everybody gets in trouble, but it's being a Noahide is not as easy as people think. So when this guy realized that his kid is going to want all of these things, and he's either going to have to learn how to say no every second word for the rest of his life, or he's going to have to abandon ship, or he's going to have to convert. He realized that he made a mistake. He thought that he was going to be the Superman of the Noahide world, only to realize that you have to first save yourself, then worry about the world. So Noahide communities, with all due respect to all those that are trying to do it, quite frankly, from the ones that I've seen, the organizations that I've seen trying it, they're not doing the right thing by the community. They're simply creating a new religion. They're giving people sidurim. They're giving people all types of things that are not supposed to be part of it. They're in essence giving you Judaism light version. And it's not supposed to be that. It's not supposed to be that. I'm not saying you can't be a Noahide. Certainly there are Noahides that are good Noahides and should remain Noahides, and there's no problem. But you cannot expect the structure that you want, because there is no unity among the Noahides like there is among the Jews. I'm not talking about unity as far as opinion. Certainly you can find like-minded people. But Jews in general, even if we have we disagree, even if we disagree bitterly about something, the second there is a test in the world, a decree in the world, some type of Holocaust of some kind, some type of government decree, all of a sudden our neshamot forget about everything and we unite. Why? Because spiritually we're connected whether we like it or not. None of that exists in the world of Noahides. There is no spiritual connection between one Noahide and another. Even if they like each other and they're friends with each other for 1,000 years. There's no connection between the nations. Even amongst each other, even if it's a Arab with an Arab, or a Christian with a Christian. One Christian's from Japan, another one is from China, another one's from France. There's no connection among them. There's no unity among the Goyim. So that's the thing. People are trying to create a non-Jewish version of Judaism. And if it was possible, and if it was something that was desirable by Hashem, then certainly this is something that the sages would have taught. But if they didn't teach that, certainly this is not something that is desired by Hashem. The Noahide has an obligation to serve Hashem to the best of his ability and follow the Noahide laws. One of the big objectives of the Noahide is also to help the Jews serve Hashem, because the better the Jews serve Hashem, the better those Jews can teach the Noahides. But when most Noahides today that you see online and being very vocal are really lying to themselves. They're lying to themselves by simply pretending that they're a Jewish version of a Noahide or all types of other things. And the reason why I mention this is because I'm seeing that this problem is growing, not because of what the people want, but rather because of how they're being misled by false leaders that are after their pockets. Because these groups, are writing all these books and having all of these forums for Noahides, because they figure, listen, there is, let's say at best, 20 million Jews in the world that we know of. Whereas non-Jews is 8 billion almost. So they figure, according to their logic and math, even if I get, 10, 20 million Noahides, 200 million Noahides, it's a whole new nation. So there's a lot of money involved. Never, ever learn Torah from someone that their priority number one is money. Although money is necessary, money is for people to do what they do, to do outreach, to provide certain services. The second it becomes the number one priority, that means that God is two. And that cannot be. That cannot be. God is always one. Now, of course, they can tell you that God is one, but I can tell you that's not possible for God to be one in their mind. Why? Because according to halacha, they're not allowed to do what they're doing if they're Jews. A Jew is not allowed to teach a Noahide if there's another Jew that needs to learn. Meaning, before you take time to address the problem of a Noahide, you have to make sure that there's no Jew that has an issue that you need to deal with. Even more so when it comes to Torah. So you're not allowed to teach a group of Noahides, even if there's 20,000 Noahides, and there's one Jew that wants to learn. The 20,000 Noahides are willing to pay you $1,000 a ticket. That means they can make a few $1,000,000 for that event. The Jew doesn't want to pay you $1. You have to go and teach that Jew. That's what Torah says. That's what halacha says. Which means that all of these people that have these Noahide organizations and they focus on Noahides as their gig, that's a problem. That's a very serious problem. Now, if you help Noahides, like what we do, what Rabbi Mizrahi does and other rabbis do, which is, as something that is also done, meaning you're helping the Jews in fulfilling your obligation, and when possible, you also help the Noahides without jeopardizing your responsibility of helping the Jew, then you can do that, no problem. And I have plenty of Noahide students that that have been with me for years, and that we try to do our best to help them, some to help them convert, some to help them just have decent lives, whatever the case is. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. And I always try to encourage people to convert because I think it's simply a better life for those that are able to do it. But don't let anybody fool you to think that there is a permission for me or for any rabbi on planet Earth to make Noahides a priority over Jews. There's no permission whatsoever. Which means that by default, according to the Torah, anyone who does it is making a mistake. It's making a mistake. So I know the Noahide communities wants this, but again, you have to decide what's more important to you, the word of God or the word of your preference. The word of your preference. So I know it's hard to be alone, to people want communities, people want to be part of something. It's definitely not an easy thing. To be in a position of a new Jew, a new convert, a new Noahide. It's not easy at all. But if a person wants it bad enough, is going to learn enough, do enough, eventually Hashem is going to open up the doors. Though we have no permission to force the door and break it down. We have no permission to it. We do our best. We learn as much as possible. We do as much as possible. We're charitable. We do chesed. We make changes in our life. And eventually, when Hashem sees we've done enough and it's time, He opens the door for us, whatever that door is. But the problem is that people feel like they should, just break down the door to the house of God and simply make decisions for Him. Tell Him how to run His house. And unfortunately, sometimes they have rabbis helping them.